Okay, so this is the first one, and I'll show you the features and the differences. Obviously, all very similar. Now, the stock is a different print in that this was split vertically, so it's two halves done separately, and that way, so it's a little bit different because the other one I split a different way, which I'll show you. The front shotgun section also at the bottom of it where the loading port is, it's basically just a flat plate, a little narrow flat plate. That's your charging point there, which you plug into your charging socket, which goes into a USB port, and then that just tucks back up into, there's a little void behind there. Now this one's also got the original speaker that was fitted to the T-Ramps kit. So because obviously this was the first one, and sort of, you know how it goes, you're sort of learning the learning curve. I ended up having to replace a lot of the switches on the circuit board so that they would work with switches that would fit into the kit or into my 3D printed parts. So those switches have been changed out and everything, that's all been done, and it's all been wired back to the LiPo, which charges, etc. The cocking mechanism is spring loaded, so that opens and closes. The stock adjusts back and forth. The shotgun, obviously, the pump grip obviously all works and is spring loaded, etc. as well. There's a tinted lens in front of the counterboard so that it gives it the right look. And basically it's got a switch in the magazine well, so that when you insert the magazine, it starts up the blaster. So look, I'll just run quickly over the actual look of the blaster. So I've done some weathering, some paint chipping, etc., so that, you know, like what it would look like, so that it's seen a bit of action. Obviously, because it's going with a cosplay setup, you want it to look like it's a bit sort of used, etc. You got sling points front and rear, so you can actually hang a sling off it. They are probably solid enough to actually take the weight of the blaster, but I wouldn't recommend just like flinging it around and hanging it off it and what have you all day. But yeah, you could actually, you know, sling the blaster and hang it off your shoulder for a period of time, as long as you're not too rough with it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the overall look. Then when you insert your magazine, so it's a magazine stub. Now the reason for that is where the circuit board is in this, it runs vertically into this section here, which took up a reasonable portion of the magazine well. So I had to cut down the magazine, so I had to redesign that piece to accommodate this kit. So when you put the magazine, it flicks the switch, and you hear your start up there, and then basically when you pull your trigger, your counter will count down, and you get your muzzle flash. And then when you pump your shotgun, this is tricky one-handed, so bear with me. Once it comes back far enough, it'll activate the switch. Oh, this is tricky. Let me try from up here. There we go. You get your counter there, you pull your trigger. So yeah. Let me see if I can do this a bit better. So you can see the actual opening up there, and you got your muzzle flash in the end there as well. Now your little speaker, as I said, is mounted up under here. All right, so that's essentially the initial build, the first one. The second one, this is your USB charge lead. Basically just plugs into a USB port, and then that's the bit that plugs onto the actual battery. So same battery in both, so that you can use the charger to charge both units. Now, this one, okay, so same sort of setup. Now, as I said, the front section I redesigned so that I actually put like the loading sort of curvature bits in it, and it's a little bit wider so that it actually looks more like the original piece where the cartridges are loaded. So that was redesigned for purpose. All the same sort of bits and pieces, you know, this is all spring loaded, you know, this all opens and closes and what have you, all the same sort of bits and pieces. So that's all spring loaded and what have you as well. Now the stock is split into this top section here is one piece, and then the insert is a second piece. So that inserts in and it's held in place with a couple of screws. So slightly different design, essentially the same thing. It still is adjustable lengthwise. You can pull it back, extend the stock, and push it back into place. Might be easy to do it this way. There we go. You get the overall look at the blaster. So exactly the same paints and everything you used. Now the paint was actually had mixed up from a replica of the Brown Best paint, so it was actually sort of made for the job. So there you go, you get an idea of what they look like. These are actually real bolts. I actually sourced these and ground them out so that they'd fit in there nice and flush and whatever and give you the correct look. All right, and then now this one is the one that I, obviously being the second one, I was able to do a little bit more mucking around and modify things slightly. And as part of that, I actually, up under here where your charger goes and what have you, I dremeled it out the design and modified it and put in a larger speaker. Now, as a result of putting that larger speaker in, we've managed to achieve a significant volume increase as well. So for your cons and what have you, this one, if you're going to do a bit of shooting and what have you, this one's probably going to be a little bit more audible. So I'll show you the difference when you load it up. So you can automatically hear instantly that that's got more volume to it. I'll just pop the stock out a little bit, try and counterbalance the weight. Okay, so when you fire this one, yeah, muzzle flash. And same with your cocking mechanism. See if we can. Oh, this is so hard to do one-handed, it's ridiculous. Yeah, let me see if I can pop the phone in so you can do it. Okay. And so as you can see in here, it's a little bit louder than the first one as well. So there you go. Charge port's in the same place. It's the lead's tucked up in there. So if I can show that. So yeah, there's a little void in there, which a little bit tricky to see, but yeah, you need to get in with a pair of tweezers or what have you, grab the little plug, pull it out, and then plug it in to charge it, and then just tuck it back up away when you're once you're all charged up and ready to go. All right, so they're the two pulse rifles all ready to go. So yeah, hope you like them. Cheers.